McConnell to force them to bring to the floor certain issues. McConnell and Ryan cannot deliver the votes. Schumer and Pelosi can deliver a block vote. They can deliver every Democrat.
Oh, yeah.
So you peel off some Republicans, and you can get something done. The problem that Trump has had, just on sort of the mechanics of legislating, is because Ryan and McConnell can't deliver their votes, they've done nothing. They have no achievement. You know, they got a Supreme Court nominee, but, you know, they would have...
That's it.
They could have done that, but not even showing up. They got nothing else.
No.
They're not going to get a tax bill.
It's embarrassing. Isn't it embarrassing, though, don't you think, for the Republican Party? I mean, they you know, you get the House, the Senate, you get the White House. Do you think it was a message, possibly, that Trump and his advisors said, you know, let's send a message to the Republicans that, you know, I'm going to do more business this way if you guys don't get your act together?
I think it is a message, and I think that the voters of Alabama are going to send a message back to Trump and back to the Republicans. I think that they're going to select Judge Moore as the nominee.
Yeah, good conservative.
Against the McConnell, who is literally spending millions of dollars, Senate PAC money.
Lots of money.
And the president is going to show up that Saturday. And I think Moore will win this 5 or 10 points. And there's no Democrat that can beat him. And the message there is, you promised us something. You promised that you would deliver. You haven't delivered. And whether you like Moore or don't like Moore, his election is a message. It's a message election. If I were a Republican, any of these other Republicans, such as Senator Corker in Tennessee or Nevada, et cetera, I'd be terrified.
Yeah.
that they won't make it out of primary, or Jeff Flake in Arizona.
Jeez. Yeah, I think you're right. You're onto something. I think Trump's heart is in the right place, and I get a sense, and I don't know if this is you've been in Washington, Pat. You understand how Washington works. Do you think that Donald Trump is finally had a reality check on, he's not going to be able to just be there in the White House, not enough just to have won? Do you think he calculated the disdain that the Republican Party has for him?
I think he's learning it. The other thing that he's learning is that politics played at a national level is a real blood sport.
Yeah, big time.
Big time. And there are no rules, ultimately, in that sport. And in that, what he faces at this point is Manafort, his former campaign manager, is almost certainly going to prison. The same thing with General Flynn, his national security advisor. He's probably going to see his oldest son, Donald, indicted.
Why did all these people get themselves in this position? I mean, what in the world is going on there?
I think so much of it is you get a certain arrogance that happens in Washington. You know so many important people, and you're an insider, and you have information, and you somehow think that you're having immunity to action. You also have the arrogance of people that believe they can convincingly explain away anything. They think they can artfully lie. Mm-hmm. But you're coming up against some of the best, toughest lawyers in the world. If you're coming up against the FBI,
absolutely,
up against
they're good. They're good.
Oh, they're great, and they're dedicated. They're
oh yeah,
dedicated.
Oh yeah.
And if you get the criminal division of the IRS, about 2,200 people, they're lethal. And these are guys that took down Enron, that took down the accounting firm of Arthur Anderson, take down some of the smartest criminals in the world, take out the mob. You've got to be, when you're under investigation, you've got to be extraordinarily careful. You've got to dot every I, cross every T. You got to keep your mouth shut. And Trump and these people find themselves where they think they can explain to it. What you really want to tell them is this is not New York tabloid society, real estate type of action.
Yeah, different. Much different.
These guys, you're playing for keeps.
Yeah, this is real world. Yeah, politics, man, it's dirty. I told you, I think back in '95 when Hillary wrote that letter demanding then host of this broadcast back then, Chuck Harder, to be taken off the air. I kind of laughed because I was thinking, she can't do that. I mean, she doesn't have the power. And then there was an 18-year audit that was thrown out. I'm like, who does that? Who can get away with that? But she did. Oh,
she did. I'll tell you a story back from back in that time. She did that, and it was not just Chuck. It was altogether about 29 organizations that were attacked, and I was one. I was one of those.
Oh my! I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, IRS audits. The whole thing, and this cost me like $87,000 for accounting fees on this thing. And what happened is, in my case, my lawyers, very skilled insiders. One had been the general counsel for the White House under Lyndon Johnson, and they just came to me and said, Pat, we're going to give back the fees that we've taken. We'll represent you. This is not about substance. This is political. And it was true of the other groups. So what happened, Mark Levin, the radio talk show host now, who used to be on Chuck's show a lot, and when I did radio, was on my show, great, terrific guy, by the way, was chief of staff for Ed Meese when he was Attorney General.
That's right.
So Mark took, he took the lead on this, and so we filed. We went into federal court. We went into Judge Royce Lambert, and we filed a request, Freedom of Information request, of the community on this particular case, all of our cases, which are a batch, of information between the White House and the IRS about these cases. Well, the Justice Department opposed it. Obviously they.
Hey, Pat.
President.
Hank, yeah. We're going to press pause just for a second in the digital realm. We're going to stop the tape. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll pick up on the other side. Sharathon 2017 going on right now at forthepeopleshow.com. Help us out.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. For the people. For the people. For the people is there.
Like anything you've ever been through in your life, man. I was driving. This kid threw a grenade at us and went right over our vehicle. It was 12 years old.
The shockwave went through my head, rattled up my brain, and left.
Danger is around you 360 degrees at all times, and you can't unlearn that.
It's impossible to describe the sacrifices these men and women have made to protect our freedoms. And the job of rebuilding their lives is massive and growing every day. Many will need the programs offered by the Wounded Warrior Project for years to come.
I didn't know what PTSD was. All I knew was I was having nightmares. And when I got released, my reintegration was go check in at the VA, man.
My first coping mechanism was use drugs. Just numb it. Don't feel anything.
I was angry. I'm trying to pull myself out of that right now.
Your gift today of $19 per month will honor and empower these veterans so they can aid and assist each other.
The Wounded Warrior Project is a life raft
I can say this without question that I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for it.
Wounded Warrior Project is the first step, getting back out into the world and reforming yourself outside of the service.
Call or go online with a pledge of $19 a month. You'll receive this Wounded Warrior Project blanket, and your gift will provide critically needed programs that rebuild lives.
That was my first feeling of actually being a part of something bigger than myself again.
Well, I lost a few really close friends overseas, and if I quit, I'm going to let them down, and I'm not about to do that.
I'm learning to face my fears head on. To trust and see what happens at the end.
It's a long process, but I had the drive and desire.
Please call or go online with your gift right now.
For the people is there.
It's Sharathon, and that means it's time to help For the People stay on the air. Your giving keeps the freedom of the air a possibility. For the People is listener supported, and only by its listeners are we able to bring you all the news each and every day with common sense, along with a conservative point of view. Help us be a voice of reason in a troubled world and make a donation today at forthepeopleshow.com. That's forthepeopleshow.com. It's your show, and we work hard to give you all the news and information that you need with commentary and insights you just don't get on the mainstream media. No fake news, just reality, so you can live your life in the know. Sharathon is your opportunity to get behind For the People. Give securely online at forthepeopleshow.com. It's Sharathon. Help For the People now at forthepeopleshow.com. Thanks for your support. There we go, your daily infusion of common sense. I am Keith Allen. It is Sharathon. It's what happens when you get into a discussion with a listener from Massachusetts talking about Sharathon. He says, how do you click the button? I said, all you have to do is push the button, and it's that simple. And I just push the button and say, here's Dr. Pat Choate back on again. Hi, Pat.
Hey, Keith, how are you?
I'm doing all right. You know, how do you like that daily infusion of common sense? Why is it such a rarity today to find a place where it just makes sense?
Oh, it's because so many people are flacking special interest ideas or self-promoting ideas. Let me just finish on this IRS
Please.
story. So what happened is Judge Royce Lambert issued an order to the IRS to produce the information. The Clinton White House then appealed the decision to the appellate court. The appellate court ruled in our favor, sent the thing back to Judge Royce to be enforced, which would have given us clear evidence that the White House had demanded that these audits go on, as it went on with Chuck. And the day after, literally the day after the appellate court issued their ruling, all the cases were dropped.
Really?
Yeah. It's on the internet in some place.
No, I believe you.
Story.
That's a heck of a story. Have you ever thought about writing a book about all that?
No.
No. I mean, you're over it. Now, did you get all your money back?
Oh, no. From the lawyers, they were kind and generous enough to give it back. But I had to pay the accountants.
Yeah.
That.
A lot of money.
It was a lot of money. But basically this was a political audit.
Oh, yeah. Well, we saw it with Chuck, and I still blows my mind.
On. It was because he was telling the truth about the Clintons.
You know, and how popular, I mean, let's get into that. It's, to tell the truth in Washington, to be, can you actually be a senator? Can you be a Boy Scout? I mean, people were saying James Comey was a Boy Scout. Now we find out he really wasn't.
It is very difficult, particularly as an elected official. You have a handful of people who are. Marcy Kaptur of Toledo is one. Walter Jones of North Carolina is one. But what happens is, with these people, because they're incorruptible, they cannot be bought off, etc.,